We tend to think of our genes as this fixed destiny, right? Like a story that's already been written for us. But what if that's not the whole picture? Today, we're going to dive into age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. It's a leading cause of vision loss for people over 50. And we're going to see how, yeah, your genes might deal you a certain hand, but you still have a powerful say in how you play your cards.
So here's our game plan. First up, we'll get a clear look at the blurry truth of what AMD is. Then, we'll explore how your genes load the deck, kind of setting the initial odds. After that, we'll get into the real science behind the maculus three-way squeeze. And finally, the important part, we'll talk strategy in playing the cards you're dealt.
All right, let's start with the basics. What exactly is this thing, AMD, and what does it actually feel like to experience it?
It's a question a lot of us eventually ask ourselves, isn't it? You have that moment where reading is just a little bit tougher, or maybe faces across the room aren't quite as clear as they used to be. Well, this isn't just some random thing that happens when we get older. There's a very specific process at work behind that blurriness.
And this is it, right here. AMD specifically goes after a tiny but absolutely crucial part of your retina called the macula. Think of the macula as the high-definition 4K sensor in your eye's camera. It's what you use for all that sharp, straight-ahead vision, for reading, for driving, and for recognizing the people you care about. When the macula is affected, all those important details in life just start to fade.
Okay, so let's talk about the genetic hand you're dealt. We've known for a long time that family history plays a big role. But what does the science actually say about how that works?
This is where it gets really interesting, because we've got to bust a common myth. AMD isn't caused by one single big, bad gene. The reality is, it's polygenic. Now, what that means is your overall risk comes from a whole combination of common gene variations, and each one just nudges your personal risk up or down a tiny bit. So instead of trying to memorize a bunch of complex gene names, let's just think about what these genes actually do. You can pretty much put them in three groups. First, you've got genes that are like the thermostat for your immune system's cleanup crew. If they're set too high, you get chronic inflammation. Second, you have genes that help your eye cells handle all the daily wear and tear. And third, there's a group that manages fats and energy inside the eye. It's these three jobs, these three pathways, where your genetics really sets the stage.
So if our genes are setting the stage, what's the actual battle that's taking place? Well, the science points to this powerful combination of biological forces, all squeezing down on the macula at the same time.
And this visual just lays it all out. First, that immune cleanup crew we just talked about, it goes into overdrive, causing this low-grade, constant smoldering inflammation. Second, the cells in your retina, which are basically metabolic rockets burning tons of energy, they start to get overworked. They just can't keep up with the demand and can't get rid of the waste. And third, all of that stress leads to what's called oxidative damage, where harmful fats, lipids, build up and can literally become toxic to the very cells you need to see.
And here it is. This is the crucial connection. Those genetic variants we talked about earlier, they don't cause AMD directly. What they do is tune the dials on these three exact pressures. Your genes load the deck by making your macula a little more vulnerable to this three-way squeeze.
Now, I know this might sound a little bit daunting, but believe it or not, understanding how it works is the key to taking back some control. Because if we know what's squeezing the macula, we can actually start to push back.
I love this quote from the source material. It just says it all, doesn't it? Your DNA sets the stage, but your lifestyle choices, your environment, they're the major actors in this story. You've got a really important role to play.
So how do you play your cards well? Well, the science points to some really clear strategies that directly fight back against that three-way squeeze. Don't smoke. Seriously, it's like pouring gasoline on the fire of oxidative stress. Eat for your macula. Think colorful vegetables, healthy fats, things that fight that damage. And manage your overall health. Good blood pressure and blood sugar reduce that metabolic strain on your eyes. See, these aren't just generic health tips. They are targeted tactics for your macula. And the future looks even more targeted. Scientists are developing what are called polygenic risk scores to better predict who needs the closest monitoring. And even more exciting, new therapies are being designed to directly go after the pathways we've been talking about, to calm the immune system, to fight oxidative stress, and to fix that lipid metabolism. It's really cool stuff. So in the end, you can see that macular health is this dynamic story, right? It's a conversation between the genes you were born with and the choices you make every single day. The science shows us that while we can't change our DNA, we absolutely have a say in how the story unfolds. So the real question is, what are you going to write in your next chapter?